This is IGN. A polished sequel that feels both smartly streamlined and somewhat hollow. This is your IGN review of Killing Floor 3 by Gabriel Moss. I keep coming back to the same question with Killing Floor 3. Where's the rest of it? I comfortably spent the last week teaming up against waves of mutant clone zombies, and mindlessly hacking and slashing through these Zeds was a lot of fun, but more than once, my teammates and I, many of whom enjoyed Killing Floor 2, myself included, found ourselves asking one another, is this the final release or is it just early access? Whether you like to play online or if you just prefer to go it alone, Killing Floor 3's singular survival mode is generally a good time, but it's also a much simpler, more tightly woven shoot-'em-up compared to its predecessors. The weapons and classes it does include are at least a blast to use, and its enemies are perfectly balanced. They're dangerous when you let them swarm you, but boy do they die good. But all this fast-paced action loses its luster once you've seen everything it has to offer, which doesn't take long. Killing Floor 3's moment-to-moment action follows the same formula as the first two games, just streamlined for a snappier, more live service-oriented delivery. That includes quicker movement that feels great immediately, letting you dash from side to side, mantle up surfaces, and power slide from sprint to crouch. You'll still be slashing and blasting your way through waves of enemies, setting up defenses and earning currency to spend on upgraded weapons, armor, ammo, grenades, self-heal refills, and so on between each assault. There's no linear campaign to break up that chaos, and a relatively limited selection of options at launch, just 6 playable classes called perks, 30 weapons plus the knife, 13 enemy varieties, 8 maps, and 3 total bosses. That does make this a good entry point for anyone just trying to get into the series compared to the infamously bloated Killing Floor 2, but a tougher sell to series veterans who have come to expect a higher level of complexity and tactical depth. Thankfully, its lone survival mode stays fun thanks to the off-the-wall combat system. The mode itself is pretty self-explanatory. The only goal is to survive 5 increasingly deadly waves of Zed and then fight one of the bosses at the end, like the Zerg-like Queen Crawler or the Rhinoceros Horned Impaler. According to one of my teammates who managed to get into a full group with over 5 players, we only managed to play together in smaller groups of 3 due to time constraints, these bosses will spawn in clusters as the team fills up. This is meant to keep everything balanced, in theory. You can get pretty creative with how you take them out, as Killing Floor 3 hands you an arsenal full of deadly armaments, even down to the basic starting weapons for each class. That could be the Engineer's versatile crate submachine gun, the Ninja's Kiba and Shuriken combo, or even just the knife that every class gets, which is delightfully overpowered. Killing Floor 3's 13 monster types are way more believable looking and just plain fun to fight, leaving behind puddles of gore and lasting destruction to the environment, and also responding to your attacks in ways that look and feel more realistic, thanks to the new and improved physics system. They die quickly enough to make you feel powerful, but the real challenge is in making sure you manage your resources, ammo, health, grenades, trade tools, and your class's special ability, while providing enough of a fight to keep them from overwhelming you in numbers. Acid-spewing bloats and sonic boom-launching sirens show up way more often in Killing Floor 3 than I recall them showing up in Killing Floor 2, as do most of the other sub-boss type enemies, including the series' classic Skrakes, which now don cybernetic augmentations, heavy armor, and a fearsome combination of chainsaws and grappling hooks. Just be prepared for a lot of realistic-looking blood effects. More Zed blood flows across your screen in any given frame than water in a typical Final Fantasy X cutscene. The 8 maps you'll fight them on are also decently unique in layout and aesthetic design, but there's nothing particularly different about each to set them apart. The main differences are in tactical advantages like Convoy's generous placement of turrets or the height brought by R&D Labs' different floors, where you can use zip lines to quickly get away from enemies in the main atrium, but mantling over the guardrails will drop you to your death. Radar Station is my personal favorite, since I like its spooky central Washington backdrop, complete with mist-cloaked forests under a full moon. Similar to Killing Floor 2's objective mode, which is absent in the third outing, there are some basic side missions to complete for extra story flavor bits that are built directly into the survival mode. Those missions have objectives like scan all the cargo crates at a location on X map, or kill 10 of X enemy type, or run 2,000 feet. You probably get the gist by this point. These reward crafting supplies, battle pass points, and experience points that later become useful when unlocking crafted weapon mods, battle pass rewards, and class skills in the hub. It's worth noting that you can also get more crafting supplies by taking out random pieces of equipment like surveillance cameras and vending machines, which is a small but fun touch. Killing Floor 3 is a polished sequel that feels both smartly streamlined and somewhat hollow. Its co-op shooting feels great, the classes are distinct, and my teammates and I had a good time blasting through Zed hordes together while the fun lasted. But with only 8 maps, 6 classes, and a backwards weapon progression system that's already in need of some tweaking, this comes across more like a solid early access build than a full release. The foundation is there, and if Tripwire keeps adding content like it did with Killing Floor 2, this could become something special. Right now, though, there's at least enough for a weekend's worth of fun. Killing Floor 3's IGN score? 7 out of 10. Thanks for listening to IGN. My name is Tony Jackson, and for the latest Killing Floor 3 updates, visit us at IGN.com.
Spoken Layer.